So what we're going to start off with first is making sure that we've ground all the coffee out of the chamber. So before we do anything, shut the hopper off and then grind all your coffee out. And that'll make sure everything's nice and empty when we start to pull it apart. And then once that's done, you want to turn your grinder off. And then the next thing you want to do is take the hopper off. Cool, so once the hopper's off, we then want to unplug the power to the burrs. That's the element power that keeps the burrs at temperature once it's turned on and plugged in. Okay, so what we're going to do first is grab our Phillips head and we're going to remove these 4 screws. You generally don't have any problems with these grinders if you do cleaning and deep cleans on them. Okay, so now that we've taken the 4 screws off, we're just going to remove the burr. So it should just slide out, just like that. And you can see already, there's some beans there. So what you want to do is grab your brush and give the burr a bit of a brush. And same here as well. Just sweeping around, getting rid of anything that might be stuck somewhere. So sometimes beans stick in this area here, and that will affect your dose as well. So there's none there now, which is good. And then you're all good. Okay, so that's the general clean, and at that point you would grab your front burr and you put it back on and then plug it back in and you're good to go. You sort of want to do that every day, but what we're going to do at this point now is do the deep clean, which is something that you would do sort of every 1 to 2 weeks, depending on your schedule and how busy your cafe is. So we'll start off with grabbing our 20mm offset ring spanner, and that's going to go in at the back, and then you're going to grab your adjustable, and the brass nut goes in opposite direction. So you loosen it like that, and then you can do the rest by hand. So the nut will come off first, and then a washer comes off as well. And then you can actually slide off this whole, where is it? There we go. So you can see the back plate like that. And you can see in behind it and see all that coffee. So what you want to do is dust it out. Loosen everything off, and then what I like to do is just give it a bit of a blow. And if it's really sort of caked up near the bearing, right in the center there, you can actually get a straw and just give it a blow there. But that's looking pretty good. And then the same thing with the blade carrier. You pretty much just want to remove anywhere that any coffee has built up. Sometimes coffee sort of gets stuck in the crevices there as well, and then you'd grab like a toothpick or something and dig into it, but it's looking pretty good, this one. Cool, so now we're ready to reassemble. The main thing at this point is aligning this little flat key that's here. There's one part here that's flat and the rest of it's round. So that flat part there actually lines up with the key that's on the inside of the axle here. So you just want to make sure that they line up when you slide it back on. Alright, so I've got my key sitting to the right, and when I put it on, that looks pretty good. And you can tell that it's in because if you hold the axle still, move the blade up and down, you can feel it moving within the key. So that's looking pretty good. So what you want to do then is not have it sitting on the bottom of the key or the top. You want to have it sitting in the center of the key. And then you grab your washer. And then you grab your brass nut. Remember, it goes on opposites to the usual thread. And then grab your 20mm and your adjustable again. And we're not going crazy tight, just enough to grab on. Here we go. And then just check it. That's looking pretty good. And now she's good to go. So then at that point, you would grab the front blade, put it on, feed the plug back in, and go back through all your screws. Cool, now all 4 screws are done, and all you have to do then is grab your hopper, put it back on, turn it on, and then slide over and let your beans come through, and you're good to go. So at this point it's a good idea just to grab your portafilter and just to double check that everything's moving properly and the coffee's grinding okay, so that you don't have any problems in the morning, and it's looking pretty good. Cool, so that's your deep clean and your daily regular clean. Cheers.